June 9th of City Council meeting for the town of Summerfield is in order. We're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance led by veteran Rick Dunlap. And I've got a little bio here for Mr. Dunlap, Sergeant Dunlap of the U.S. Army. His service was 1968 to 1984, 25 years. Two-year tours as drill sergeant of the Military Police School, served as a military police operation Just Cause, that was the invasion of Panama Canal, and served as a combat veteran in Operation Desert Storm in the first Gulf War. He served as a combat veteran. In his retirement, he has taught at Grimsley High School for 17 years, currently works as a part-time school bus driver for Guilford County Schools, serving Pierce and Kernodle schools. Teaches first aid to Boy Scout troops, and he enjoys his beloved grandchildren. His awards are Army Parachutist Badge, 5 Army Meritorious Awards, and that exceeds the standard of the job, and 3 National Defense Service Medals. Can we all give Sergeant Major Dunlap a hand? Mr. Dunlap, will you give us the Pledge of Allegiance?
I'd be glad to.
Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr.
Mr. Mayor, if I could say one thing.
Absolutely.
17 years teaching high school, 25 years in the Army. Most of you know what post-traumatic stress is. Drive a school bus. Thank you, sir.
I was one of those problem children on that school bus. So thank you for your service.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for your service.
4:45.
All right, next up, we're going to do the invocation. Mayor Pro Tem Devaney.
If everyone would please bow their head. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this day and for the opportunity to gather in service for the town of Summerfield. We are grateful for each person present and for the shared commitment we have for our community. Lord, help us to humble ourselves before you. When our passions and opinions compete for our attention, guide our hearts to be ruled by your wisdom. Grant us discernment as we consider the matters before us. Help us to seek what is beneficial for all. Thank you for your constant presence in our lives. For you remain faithful. Lord, favor us as we conduct the business of Summerfield tonight. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Now we're going to do introductions. We're going to start on the left as usual with our town clerk.
Leah Brooker, town clerk.
John Doggett.
Heath Glenn.
Lynn Williams Devaney.
Lee Haywood.
Kyle Stalls.
Ashley Anderson, town attorney.
Twig Rollins, town manager.
We're just doing the other. Jeff Baker, deputy clerk. Somebody can video guy. Yeah.
Thank y'all for being here.
Yes, sir.
All right, we're going to go to the adoption of the agenda. Do I hear a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a change to the agenda to remove 8A, approval of IT control policy. I believe that's still under review, so I'll push that back to another meeting. Other than that, I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? All right, all those in favor of approving the agenda with the removal of 8A signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes unanimously. Announcements and recognitions. First of all, we have a very special guest here from art student Isla Perry from I think it was Bethany Community School. Ms. Perry, are you in the audience? Hi, will you step forward, please?
Yeah.
Oops, Tori. This is her design that she made, let me turn around, for our Founder's Day contest for the t-shirt. Now, you know, we came along with this, and this is what we went with, but this is a very nice design that you made for us. And we just wanted to give you, recognize you for the effort, and we wanted to present to you, come on down there.
And while you're walking around, I just would like to make note for the citizens that Isla was the only student in Summerfield or high schools feeding into Summerfield that did artwork for this particular contest. So we really appreciate her taking the time out of her school day and everything that she has to do to create this.
Thank you, Pro Tem. We have a t-shirt in here and a lunchbox, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
And also, I understand that your principal is here, Shawan Coles Wilson.
Yes, sir.
Will you come on up too? Thank you for being here. Okay, all right. Oh, I was told there's a gift card in there for Amazon.
Thank you.
$50. Righteous bucks. And we have two t-shirts in there for you and a lunchbox. Thank you for coming up here.
Thank you.
Would y'all like to meet the other council members?
Hi, nice to meet you. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much again, appreciate that. And very nice to meet you again. Thank you for your work here. Yeah.
Thank y'all so much for being here. Thanks for
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Absolutely.
Would Mrs. Carrie Page please come up? I'll just stand right here. Ms. Carrie Page is actually my principal at Summerfield Elementary, and this lady is amazing for the staff and her students. And we also wanted to recognize her for the community that she has created here with the town. She has worked with us for Founder's Day. We had everything located on the campus, very accommodating, and we really appreciate all the effort and energy that she put into doing that. And we also, as the town in partnership with the school, we work together with using the park and the amphitheater and that type of thing. So we really want to continue this, and we consider it an honor to work with you. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. And I have tickets to the next event at school.
Can y'all stand up again?
Yeah.
Forgot the most important part. Ms. Perry, if you'll hold that. You want to get up there, Pro Tem? Nice. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Okay.
So, Mr. Mayor, I have just a few more announcements. I would just like to remind everybody to please visit the website, and you'll see postings on the Summerfield Facebook page for all the committee and board meetings, their times and locations. The next town council meeting workshop will be next Tuesday, June 16th at 5:30 here at the community center. The annual fishing derby will be Saturday, June 27th from 8 to 10 a.m. at the Sportsman's Wildlife Club. That's at 7999 Winfrey Road. That's just north of the SAP baseball fields. And also, the first Music in the Park will be Saturday evening, June 27th at 6 p.m. Here at the Summerfield Amphitheater. So if you walked outside and went that way behind you, then you would run right into the amphitheater. And the special occasion band will be coming to that event. So we're bringing back some beach music for everyone. And as a reminder, the town hall will be closed on Friday, July 3rd in observance of the 250th birthday and Independence Day. And one last thing is we do have some of the Founders Day t-shirts still available. There is a limited number, and also the sizes are limited. They're $10. And you can inquire more about that at Town Hall. That's it.
Did it?
Yes, sir.
Next, we're going to go to public comments. First up, we have Ms. Chris Barner. Am I pronouncing that correct?
Burner.
Burner?
Yeah,
Okay.
my
Thank
husband
you,
always
Ms. Barner.
says as in Bunsen burner, so I finally got it right after that.
Thank you for being here. Can you state your address?
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, everyone. My name is Chris Burner. My address is 7100 Lentz Court in Summerfield, 27358. Thank you for having me and for taking the time this evening. I'm here because the Sons of the Confederate Veterans had a booth at the Summerfield Founders Day Festival, and they displayed a Confederate flag at my children's school right across the street here at Summerfield Elementary. I love this town. I choose to raise my family here. And when I learned that there was a Confederate flag flying at our school, I wasn't just angry, I was embarrassed. That's not what I believe, that's not what this community stands for, and it doesn't reflect the place that I want my children to grow up in. The Confederate flag is a symbol of hatred, not heritage. It was deliberately revived during the Civil Rights era to terrorize Black Americans. It's been used by white supremacist organizations for decades. Every child at the festival who recognized that flag knew exactly what it meant, and its presence at a family event on public school grounds isn't a neutral act. It sends a message about who belongs in this community and who doesn't. That's not a message that our town should be sending. I reached out to the town twice by email, asking for an explanation about this. I never received any acknowledgement, and so that's why I'm standing here today, because when residents raise a serious concern and we don't hear anything from our elected officials, I'm only met with silence, the only thing to do is stand up and show up. That's all that's left. So we deserve an explanation for how something like this would have happened. I've heard that there might not be a formal process for approval of the booths at Founders Day, and that's not a defense. That to me is just an admission that there aren't any standards about who gets a platform at our town's public events. But let's be clear about this. A booth doesn't just show up out of thin air. Someone saw it being set up, someone saw the flag go up, and nobody said anything. Summerfield is a community that's worth fighting for, and I want to fight for it. But that means we collectively have to decide, where do we stand, and what will we not sanction in our name? So I'm asking the council for written answers to 3 very specific questions. First, who authorized that booth to be present at our Founders Day celebration? Second, when that flag was visible, what action did the town officials take that were at the event and saw that flag? And third, and finally, what are you going to do to make sure nothing like that ever happens again? All of our neighbors deserve to feel welcome at their own town festival, and I really do look forward to your response. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Burner. Next up is Teresa Perryman.
Teresa Perryman, 7401 Green Lawn Drive. I believe this town is getting to the bare minimums of the law. And now my understanding is basically the only thing that's going to get recorded is the town meeting, no special call meetings or any of that. And I had to look through the whole packet tonight to find that there were 3 budget amendments. One was placed under 6C, one was placed under 7, and one was placed under 7D. But my main question is I have called one council member, and I don't understand. I've looked through that y'all already approved for tonight, the minutes of 5/26. But I want to know what happened. Why wasn't there anything saying that y'all were going into closed session on 5/26? I know when y'all said y'all were going to take a 5-minute recess, I went outside, I come back, I sit down, and y'all were coming out of y'all opened up the door and come out of the closed session meeting. Those minutes, I hope anything said in there was being recorded. Y'all have to announce a closed session meeting. Now, y'all sit there and stand and say there was no closed session meeting, but y'all went behind that door and y'all shut the door. That's when it became a closed session meeting. And it needs to go into the minutes. And other than that, you'll hear me at the budget comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Perry. Next, we have Mayor Tim Sessoms.
Mayor?
Mr. Mayor, council staff, Tim Sessoms, 6507 Horseman Trail, Summerfield. I want to talk to you guys tonight about the budget and of course about the lawsuit that just continues to go on. I know last year in the budget was over $200,000. Seemingly, after you approve the amendment tonight, you will have spent over $600,000 in legal fees this past year. But I took heart that it's just over $200,000 in the budget this year, and I looked in the budget notes, indicated in the budget notes that I guess the employment case and the eminent domain case, you guys are projecting to be done by June the 30th, which I'm not sure how that could happen, but that would be great. I know Ms. Dunham has a case that's going on. I know in total it's been probably over $1 million that has been spent on the case against Scott and Dee, and certainly it's over $1 million with that case, plus the other frivolous legal matters that money has been spent on. I know that Scott and Dee are, in trying to defend themselves, have spent over $250,000. And so I would just leave you guys with this question: what is the town of Summerfield got to show for that $1 million that's been spent in legal fees? I would encourage you to look at the legal fees of any of the small towns up here or even around the state. Almost none of them have near the legal fees that we have here in Summerfield. So on behalf of myself and Mayor Brown, Mayor Barnes, the other Mayor Barnes, we would ask you guys to please try to get this under control. Let this go. I mean, even if you win this case, this money will never be recovered. I don't see any way this money could ever be recovered. It's just money that's spent that's going to be gone. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sessoms. Where's Mayor Brown? Thank you for being here tonight. And thank you for your service. Anybody else? All right, not seeing anybody. The public comments are now closed. I'll entertain a motion to go into a public hearing for the budget.
Mr. Mayor, at this time, could we please receive our staff report on the budget, and then I would be more than happy to make a motion to go into the public hearing.
Sure.
Mr. Mayor and council and public, thank you. The finance officer is here with me. I'll try to keep this brief. A couple weeks ago, I presented the budget, proposed budget to you all. for a budget of $2,312,000, $1,511. So about $2.3 million. That has not changed in the last couple of weeks. That number is solidified. I will announce to you all, for those of you who don't know, and for the public this afternoon, the House did pass, the General Assembly passed a moratorium on taxes, 71-0. I understand the delegation quote from the lobbyist who contacted me that it was a fight among the Guilford County delegation on the floor. So it was very controversial, but it did pass. We did, with staff's recommendation, that we prepare a budget in anticipation that this would pass. So our budget does not change. We have already made the necessary cuts, and we're in compliance with the General Assembly as soon as that bill is signed into law by the governor. What's different about this year's budget is a couple of things. Revenues are expected to be at pre-pandemic levels. Interest rates are a little bit lower. At least that was the latest forecast from the financial advisors for us. So we kept that in mind to have very conservative projections on revenues. Expenses basically are covering continuous investments in parks, recreation, community events, maintenance of the town properties, planning and development services, and preservation of our healthy reserves and long-term projects. We also this year, to make it easier to track and easier to understand, we have recommended to this council, and y'all passed one this last meeting, was a capital budget ordinance. The last one you did was Bandera Farms. When you approve this budget, if it's your pleasure, you would also be doing a capital project ordinance for the ANY and for the water project, or fire suppression water tank project. And then we also have a separate accounting for the enterprise fund, which is solid waste. So it's easier to track, it's easier to look at the numbers and what's being spent where in those individual projects. So that is the overview of this year's budget. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them. The budget, the finance officer is here with me also to assist me in that. But that's all my staff report, Mr. Mayor.
And all those will be under the budget amendments will be under the consent agenda, correct? All those are encompassed in
The budget amendments are this year's budget. We're talking about next year's pass, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
So this is the proposed budget for 26-27.
Okay.
And I would say, if it's the pleasure of the board after the public hearing, that you do have the pleasure to pass the budget tonight, or you can pass it later on in the month, but it has to be passed by June 30th according to state statute.
All right. Any questions?
Another meeting this month?
We have a workshop scheduled for next month, next week, excuse me, Mr. Hamilton. Or you can do it then, or you can do it later in the month. It's really the pleasure of the board.
I think the discussion was to try to pass it next week if possible, or yes or no next week. Anybody have any questions for the town manager?
I'm good with comments.
I'm waiting till after public comments.
We can't hear you.
I said I'm gonna wait until after public comments.
Okay.
Any questions? Tom? We good? Okay. All right.
Okay. Any more comments from staff?
Yeah, I don't hear any.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, I would like to make a motion that we move into the public hearing for the budget, which would be the 26-27 budget.
Is there a second?
Second.
Who was that? You, okay. Keith Platt. Any discussion? Hearing none, we're now going into a public hearing for the 2026-2027 budget hearing. First up, we have Ms. Beth Kaplan. Oh, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, we're now into public hearing. Ms. Beth Kaplan?
Beth Kaplan, 7979 Highfield Road. So I have some concerns about the budget. One is the very small amount that you have allotted for legal fees. Do you really think that $280,000 is enough for legal fees? We're approving tonight a budget amendment that will raise the legal fees for the current fiscal year to over $600,000.
Do you realistically believe that you will have settled your lawsuits by June 30th of this year? In April alone, the town spent $235,000 of our tax dollars on legal fees. Municipalities are legally required to operate under an annual balanced budget ordinance which mandates that realistic and verifiable expenditures be presented. And I like the idea of the town setting up an enterprise fund for trash pickup because it will allow citizens to see more clearly the revenue and expenses. But the town is not showing all the associated expenses with this fund. They are not showing staff salaries and costs. If a town in North Carolina establishes an enterprise fund for solid waste, it must transparently show all expenses, including staff salaries and benefits. Even if the town doesn't set up a separate enterprise fund, North Carolina law still requires the town to disclose and budget all costs associated with the solid waste services. I certainly have other concerns, which I'm sure will be discussed, such as the proposed decrease in athletic park revenues while increasing salaries, but it just looks like the budget is not ready for approval. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Kaplan. Ms. Teresa Perry?
Teresa Perryman, 7401 Greenlawn Drive. Again, I was told sorry to get here. Nowhere on the agenda does it say public comments for budget hearing. I didn't know whether to prepare for public comments or not. The agenda's about getting a waste of time for me. Anyway, yeah, I'm not too happy about the lawyer's fee either, because I might just have to end up getting my own attorney myself. I'm tired of asking for my public records request. It's been over a year, and according to state law, in a timely manner. I don't know what a timely manner is for y'all, but for me, it should have been a couple of weeks. But I quit asking for public records. But why? Because by the time I get them, it's of no use to me. Is that what y'all want? I asked for this for reasons, because they're not in the packet like it should be anyway. And there's one public record request I asked for that requires one page. One piece of paper is all I'm asking for. Can someone please tell me why it's taken over a year and I'm having to stand up here, threaten a lawsuit over public record request to get this done? And y'all want to know why I'm mad? I have a right to be. This is useless. And, you know, I don't even know why I stand up here and waste my time for 3 minutes. And y'all know I don't even spend 3 minutes. I don't even know why I waste my breath. Because I personally feel like it's falling on deaf ears. But I just love the phrase, you can't fix stupid. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Perry. Fix stupid. Is there anybody else out there? Anybody else want to speak on the budget? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make the motion that we close the public hearing for the 2026 and 2027 budget.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of closing the public hearing for the 2026-27 budget, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, this public hearing is now closed. I'm going to go into the administrative board and committee
Mr.
report.
Mayor.
What are we?
Mr. Mayor,
Okay,
do we have business on the budget?
it's not here. Okay, all right. All right. Open and close our now council business is for the budget hearing. Let's go ahead and start with Pro Tem debating.
I'll defer at this time to Kyle, Mr. Stalls.
I was just bringing his attention to YouTube.
To me.
Yes.
Is there no discussion on this?
Yeah, I have to agree with a couple things. I think that looking at the lawyer fees that we spent the last couple of months, that the amount that we put in there, we need to go ahead and raise it. And go ahead.
We can't hear you. Thank you.
I think the amount that we've got in there for the lawyers needs to be raised. I'm not sure exactly what that number needs to be, but what we spent the last couple of months will outweigh, will surpass what we've already got, so I don't think the number we've got in there is correct. The other is that I did ask about the employees and salaries being in the enterprise fund, and I'd like to know if that has to be in there, or should be in there. And that's all, the only two questions I've got.
Would you answer it?
We did not hire any additional employees to take on this service. If it's the pleasure of the council, you want to get granular and break out the number of hours that we're using for that enterprise fund, we can do that as far as staff. But in order to do that, the way that the spirit of the law is that if those hours exceed what it's actually costing us, if we break it out, we would need to run it like a business and raise our rates. It was my recommendation in the beginning that staff could absorb this once it got going, and we would not have to hire an additional staff person. So that's why there's not staff people in the budget.
I hear you, and I understand that, but in a year or two, when we do, if we have to raise rates, it would be a whole lot easier to be able to go back to the citizens and say, this is what it's costing, this is why we're going to do it. If we don't have salary and staff time in there, then that would be harder. That's the reason.
And staff's thought was, let's get a couple of quarters under our belt and smooth out the wrinkles and speed bumps, and then we would see where we're at as far as that goes.
But there's nothing, I guess, there's nothing legally that we have to have it in there.
No, until we update a job description that specifically designates a particular percentage of a given staff member's time that is specific to utility billing, we don't have any legal obligation to include staff hours, salary, those kinds of things. Once we designate and we understand if there's somebody, let's say that's a quarter or even a half time needs to be devoted to that, we'll update that job description and then we can split it out that way. But at this point, we don't have enough cycles under our belt to understand if we need to do that and when. And
So anyone else? Good question, Mr. Doggett.
Good question, Mr. Doggett.
You mentioned about increasing our legal fees. What would you want to increase them to?
Just looking at what we spent this year, you'd almost have to double, just to be safe, because of what, especially with this. I mean, we don't know.
Can you not please
And I
pull your
should-
microphones? We cannot.
I just don't know what it's going to be, because I don't know what the case is going to do, and I don't know where it's going to end up, but I do believe that, I don't know what the number is. If we look at what we've done this year, then we need to double the number that we put in there. But I also understand that we're trying to show that we're not taking money out of the fund balance, but I would rather take my lumps now and get it out there and be done with it, the best we can do.
Can I ask a question?
Thank you, Jeff.
So I understand what Mr. Doggett is saying, and I, from what I understand, I anticipate some of the litigation coming to a close this actual year. Of course, it might be a different fiscal year. The eminent domain, the money for that, is that in that lump there too, the lawsuit, or is that something else?
it's currently built into the ANY.
So that's not even, okay, I got you. Well, if that's built into the ANY.
As right of way acquisition.
Yeah, so I guess between now and if we revisit this at the next meeting, we can make sure we take a look at those legal fees to see how realistic it is. And actually, that might be something that you'd have to glance at with us a little bit to see how realistic that is. Would that be good with you, Mr. Doggett?
Well, could we get Ashley to look at it and maybe talk to Joshua to see if we can get a ballpark so that we're just not, I know it's all.
Like a projection on litigation
Yeah.
expenses?
Yeah.
To carry all 3 litigation matters to close?
I mean,
I think that'd be the best thing to do.
we've had so far, there's a couple of matters that's been resolved. For instance, the one with, I think it was Gary Brown and Patty Stokes versus Mrs. Luther. There's no more fees in that one now. I understand that Scott Whitaker's and Dee Hall's lawsuit against Mr. Rollins, Mr. Clay, and Mrs. Luther and Ms. Wood, that's been dismissed, I believe. I mean, so I think that's gone there too. What's that?
PRR.
The PRR lawsuit with Mrs. Dunham, I think that's likely to see the end soon. I believe that the NAACP, back and forth, of course, there's been a lot that's happened before I got here and into my term. And so optimistically, I think that's hopefully coming to a close. So I think really the only one that's sort of outstanding right now at the moment is whether or not the Whitaker and Hall. And I heard someone say earlier, I believe former Mayor Sessoms, I think he referred to it as frivolous, but no, it's not frivolous. In fact, just so everybody knows, if it was a frivolous lawsuit, you could file to have it dismissed for being frivolous. And from what I understand it, no one has filed to have that dismissed for being frivolous. But I think there's a lot of misconceptions and misunderstanding in particularly the social media area. And I think some of it definitely is. Well, I know some of it definitely is politically motivated. And but being on the inside and knowing the county what's going on, we are, when it comes to those kind of things, we are definitely doing what it takes to protect our town. So I think between now and next week, we can review that when Mr. Dawkins wants to see what those fees should be. So, and I'll say that when I said the Dunham case, I am talking about former Mayor Gail Dunham, who was here. That's the litigation case with her. She has sued the town before, I believe, and I think she won years ago before I got here. I think she has sued the town again, but I believe that this time the lawsuit is in a much different place, and I believe the town is doing everything it can to comply. But do we know how many PRRs there are actually outstanding?
Currently, there's right around 100. Currently, we have about 250 a year, and we have been instructed.
It's 350.
350, excuse me.
350 a year.
350 a year, and we've been instructed to fill them in order they came in. So, speaking to one of the other speakers earlier, wise mind, because it's behind the line of the other ones, and some of them are so broad and so wide and so much staff time it takes. Give you for instance, public, one PRR had 46,000 emails they had to go through for that one PRR.
And before you ever got here, Mr. Rollins, I had heard previous council members discussing the issues of PRRs, and one of the complaints they had formerly, and I don't know this, so I'm going to ask today, one of the former complaints before I ever got here was that the majority of the PRRs, it seemed like someone was sort of just inundating the town with them. When you're looking at the PRRs, is there a majority of them that come from one person, or are they all just divvied up between everybody, or does it look like one person sort of inundates the town?
We have one person that averaged the last 2 years 140 PRRs.
Gotcha. When you say average, you mean
Over
every year?
the last several years, 140 a year, that one person.
And of course, that requires a lot of time and staff, doesn't it?
Yes, sir. Council's been gracious enough. We have Deputy Clerk Bacon. He works 25 hours a week doing nothing but PRRs. And then we have the IT company that has to assist us depending on the nature and scope of the PRR, and we have to do legal review. So these things take time, and we just have a huge backlog. So.
And Mr. Manager, that also takes legal fees because our attorney has to review those.
That is correct.
So in some ways, I feel as though some of the folks who try to make things difficult with the town are some of the same ones who often criticize the town for spending the money that they kind of create the sinkhole for. So, but anyway, with that, I think the money is the biggest issue with the legal fees. But don't see it as the town's fault. I mean, the town has to respond to it, it's like anything else. I mean, you know, if you look nationwide, I mean, Department of Justice has to spend money. I mean, every department has these legal fees that they have to do to protect themselves. So we could be an extremely weak local government rollover. And then, of course, what's the use even having a local government? But I feel as though that we're going to do right. And it can be a legal quagmire in Summerfield. It seems like everything we touch turns into a hot issue quick. But I appreciate everybody's efforts. From Mr. Doggett all the way, well, actually, I'm sorry, from Leah, Mr. Doggett, Clay, Lynn, maybe Lee, Kyle, our attorney here, and our manager. So I thank you all for everything you did.
I'd like to take a quick moment just to recognize Jeff Bacon for his tireless, grueling work in his tiny little office at Town Hall.
Ms. Anderson, do you know what the average is for record requests for a town per year?
I do not.
Yeah. Mr. Manager, do you? I mean,
At my last town, in 18 months that I was there, I had 2.
Yeah.
Upridge sees about 10.
who's that?
Upridge sees about 10. Stokesdale less than that.
And from what I can tell, I believe, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, anybody here, but I believe, you know, our next door neighbor, Greensboro, is having to spend a lot of legal fees for public records requests, pretty much from some of the same individuals that we're having the same issue with. So I think it's a problem that's intentionally being created.
Mr. Stahl? You more? Ms. Devane?
I was just going to suggest that we gather some answers about possibly addressing the question that Mr. Doggett brought up with what the legal fees would be, and then we consider voting on our budget at our workshop. Not too soon.
Mr. Mayor, I think Mr. Doggett actually brought up a really good question. And I think that the new service we added is still in flight and we're still learning more about it. I think the answer that our finance officer and manager made a lot of sense. And so I think, could that change in the next fiscal year? Possibly. But we don't know what we don't know at the moment. I think that putting together what we've done makes a lot of sense, and it satisfies me. As far as the legal fees, I don't know if we can win on that one. When I say legal fees, meaning that we budget too high, we budget too low. I don't know if there's a Goldilocks number that we can come to. I personally would love to see our legal fees low. I don't want litigation in either direction, to or from. I really don't. And I would love for us to get to a point with the town where we are not having to have suits that we're talking about. I do echo what Councilman Hamilton said, that we had a lot of varying legalities this year. It's not just one specific legal fee. There's a lot of different things that was going on, and I won't repeat what Councilman Hamilton has already said. I do feel that some of these are coming to a close. So I do anticipate and agree with the staff and what they said about definitely having a lower amount. Between now and next week, I don't know what we're going to gather by another guesstimate. You just don't know what the future may hold. We may have another suit from a PRR or whatever. And we have to pivot and use funds to pay for that. So I am okay with the legal fee budget as is. I really, really want us to try to get to there. I don't know what that will take, but I'm okay with both of those questions And I'm also okay with going ahead and presenting the budget tonight if there is a feel for the board to move forward. I'm okay with this.
Hearing that, do I hear a motion coming from you for the budget?
Well, I want to be respectful to the council that I work closely with, because the comfort level may not be there, as it is with me.
So you want a informal head count? Is that what you're wanting?
It'd be great.
Mr. Stahl?
What exactly is the question?
Are you comfortable with the budget?
Yes.
Mr. Hamilton?
I'd like to wait until, excuse me,
Bless you.
to the meeting next week if we can. Just want to think about the comments and questions and maybe ask a few more things, but I appreciate the work that's been done on it, but not quite yet.
Ms. Devane?
I respect the questions that came up tonight. That's why I said what I said. I have been through this budget, I can't even tell you how many times. Line item by line item, I am very comfortable with what is in there.
And you obviously,
I am, but I respect Mr. Hamilton so far in saying that in transparency, I'm not certain that I will be able to attend next week. And that's another reason why I want to go ahead and discuss that tonight. So full disclosure.
may I ask a question, Mr. Doggett? You voiced your concerns. You're actually wanting to allocate more money based on last year's legal fees. Have you looked through the budget and figured out where you want that money to come from? Do you just want to take it, a reserve out of the fund balance and have it sit there?
I think that's for them to tell us where it has to come from.
Haven't they done that?
So it would come from fund balance.
No, I mean, hasn't the staff already
We have
presented to
that,
us?
the last, I'm sorry, didn't interrupt.
That's fine.
The last 2 months we've spent how much on legal fees?
About 280 something, I think just under 280,000.
And that's what we've got budgeted.
Well, my question to you is, you're concerned that we're not allocating enough.
Correct.
Okay, all right.
And my question to Ashley was,
Okay.
to come back to ask Joshua, if he could give us a ballpark, an idea, was my question.
I mean, I think it's certainly appropriate to ask a litigator to forecast projections, but litigation is just inherently expensive by the nature, or by its nature, and you have to understand that, you know, it would just be a projection. That could change depending on what your legal needs end up being. It could be too high, it could be too low. That is the nature of the beast.
And thank you for that.
I'm sorry.
Where did this number come from? How did we, as staff, and this to us, how did we get to this number? And what was your forecasting? What would you use to get to this?
We have, as Mr. Hamilton has stated, we have several matters that are coming to a close. With the updates that you all and I have received about litigation, feel with Mr. Whitaker and Ms. Hall, feel like those are going to come to close sooner than later. And so the 280 was the number that we came up. Originally it was 250, we moved it up to 280. And I mean, there's no, it's like throwing a dart on a dartboard. That's what it is. I mean, and to answer the question, where would the additional money come from? It would have to come out of fund balance, in my opinion. So if you decide to up from that number of 280, we would amend the proposed budget, whatever that amount. Let's just say you wanted up to $50,000, that would be $50,000 coming, $50,000 more, because we got 35 coming out for a capital project. So it would be $85,000 this next year coming. But it would be my recommendation, and I don't see any other place to, unless you want to start cutting positions or cutting services.
Thank you.
All right, I think the ball's in your court, Mr. close?
Yeah, out of respect for our borough council members, I feel comfortable with this. I think, I really appreciate your feedback. You gotta do what you feel is best for the town and for the citizens, just like I do. So I am moving to accept the budget for fiscal year 2026-27 budget as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Stalls has seconded. Is there any discussion?
I'll be voting against it for several reasons, but I understand you go ahead and if you have the majority to go ahead and do it, I understand you doing that.
Well, I mean, there's a motion.
Yeah, no,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. Anybody else? Any, is it any?
No, sir.
All right, hearing no more discussion. All those in favor of accepting the 2026-27 budget as presented signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
I'm sorry.
Okay. That would be Mr. Doggett and Mr. Hamilton opposed. The motion passes, and we have now accepted the 2026-27 budget.
And even though I didn't vote for this, I will say that I'm,
Sure.
Originally I'd asked for us to move towards the revenue neutral rate and last year's numbers and everything. And I'm glad you all actually took that cue and pushed them back. So thanks all for working on it in that direction.
I'm new to this, obviously. All the mistakes I've made in the past 8 months. But I do want to tell the people out here in the audience that I'm very impressed with the way these, my fellow council members have looked at this budget, all the way down, all the way across here. They are, say what you will about the lawsuits. That is in my opinion, a pall hanging over our council that will eventually go away. My mom used to say, nothing lasts forever, even your troubles. And that's one of the things that I go by in my entire life. I miss her, think about her every day, but that's one of her favorite sayings. And these lawsuits will eventually go away, hopefully sooner than later. But I will attest to the fact that all these, the lady and gentleman up here are looking out for your tax money. I will attest to that. So, is it time to move on? I believe so.
Yes, sir.
Let's see what we got here. Trails and Open Space Committee report. Mr. Lambert.
Mr. Lambert looks very different.
Wow, there you are. They don't tell me this stuff till the very last minute. I look like an idiot up here, but they go, wait a minute, this has changed. So,
Ginger Lambert.
Nice to see you again.
Thanks. I'm representing the Trails Committee.
We'd rather have you.
I had my turn. First, I want to thank each of the council members and staff employees for your service to our community. We know there's a lot that goes on, and we appreciate your work. In the past year, the Trails Committee has focused on several projects. A new bridge was built inside Summerfield Park on an in-process trail. This project is on hold right now because of the summer season we're in. Work will continue in the colder months. We continue to add flowers and cultivate the flower meadow. This growth takes time, and over the course of a few years, more and more flowers will appear. As part of the flower meadow, the Trails and Open Space Committee coordinated with youth to complete the Scout Project, a peace project that includes benches, a totem, and shrubs. We are working on a park and trail signage proposal for the town manager. Earlier this year, we updated the trails map to represent the current trails in Summerfield Park. We continue to study how we can create connectivity to the ANY Greenway and the town park for all 4 quadrants of Summerfield. The Trails and Open Space Committee stays updated on the Piedmont Greenway. Last fall, a small group of committee members met with the Oak Ridge Trails Committee to hear an update from the MST Trail Coordinator. Trails and Open Space Committee collaborates with and supports the Summerfield Park and Rec crew
And currently, we're excuse me, and currently we are researching tree types and will provide a proposal to the town manager for planting in the Summerfield Park this fall.
Great report. Anybody have any questions?
Thank you, Ginger.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Ginger.
that.
Watch out.
Not for me. For Bandera, what is the Charles Open Space thinking about and contributing, and are there any efforts you were thinking about for either the end of this year or going into next year for this new park we're doing?
Inside the park?
Yeah.
At this point, inside the park is still, I believe, under construction, and we haven't gone into conversation about inside that park.
Is there any discussions at the meetings for some maps that you've been doing so great with the other parks so far, maybe in the future?
For Bandera? If we are asked, certainly.
Great answer, which is what my last question is. What do you need from us? What is it that the council can help and support?
What do we need from you? Well, we always welcome you to participate and come see our meeting and come participate in our meetings. We're there, yeah. We're a part of this team, so you're welcome to join us.
Then I would say, again, just one member of council, I would say for next year, maybe look to some nice maps that you've already been doing already with the other parks. Work with our town manager and bring out the beautiful work you already do, and maybe put that forward for the area.
Sure, can do that. Thanks.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
I have been to one of their meetings, and they were very accommodating, very hospitable. Who's next? Emergency services, that'd be Mr. Doggett.
Fire-related calls were 19, EMS-related calls 72, other calls 42, for a total of 133 calls. When you see emergency lights, pull to the right and let the emergency vehicles pass. Never leave your kids, pets alone in vehicles. Everything changes in less than a minute. Look twice and save a life. Motorcycles and bicyclists are sharing the road again. Look twice when merging and turning at intersections, as these small vehicles can be easily missed. Guilford County Sheriff's total call 501, calls resulting in cases 25. That's it.
Doug, I love that. You see the light pull to the right. You'll remember that.
Financial reports. Ms. Kelly?
If you have questions, I don't have anything to
We have
present.
the summary of investment, draft, budget transfer number 5.
And I would like to clarify my earlier response. I just pulled the figures. Over the past 2 months was your question on legal fees. It's $122,717.
Would you say it again? I didn't hear you.
Sorry, $122,717 over the past 2 months.
2 months.
So nobody wants to, everybody okay?
Yes.
Sir, okay?
Mr. Mayor, I do have one thing. This was probably more appropriate.
See, there you go.
This was more appropriate under announcements and recognitions, but we rolled through that with a great deal of speed. I just wanted to point out, on Monday, I attended the groundbreaking for what will be Summerfield Preparatory Academy, across the street from Summerfield Charter Academy. The principal did a presentation. They probably had about 50 people in attendance despite the blazing heat. I believe the president of the National Heritage Academies was there, and their construction foreman will be over the site. So they were great to talk to a number of them, and told them that there's anything we can do, if they need the town, just feel free to reach out to Twig. And also on May 31st, attended the Farmhouse Community Center opening over in Oak Ridge. That's several years of work coming to fruition over there. And that was an excellent event, very well attended. The mayor and council member Schneider spoke. They put together a good facility there, maybe something that we could look at down the road. We may have opportunity for something like that. I believe Representative Lust was in attendance there, as well as Councilman Tillman, Stokesdale Mayor T. Stevenson. We had a pretty good local turnout at that. So just wanted to give credit where it's due there. Excellent event, good facility for Oak Ridge. So thank you for tolerating that.
So those pictures.
Mr. Hamilton, anything?
Yes, sir.
The only thing I got, if we're doing our reports, which it looks like we are, is I attended the Revolution upper school groundbreaking along with Councilman Doggett. He was there, and we had to do it within a break in the rain. It was very muddy, wet day, but it went very well, and that's right down the road from where me and my wife live, and we're looking forward to having them as a neighbor. And like I said there, where we live, we can hear Northwest High School, the band, and the announcements, and within a year or two, we'll probably be able to hear their band announcements. So it'll be like dueling bands and announcements there. So, but they're great people, and they're great people to work with, and I was honored to say a few words there. So, unfortunately, we had to do it very quick because another storm was coming in, and all they had for refreshments was some I guess cupcakes, and I'm not a big cupcake fan. So anyway, Mr. Doggett might have had a couple, I don't know. That's all I got. Ms. Devane?
I'm good, thank you.
You good? You good?
Good.
Okay. All right. Consent agenda. I'll take a motion.
Mr. Mayor, if I could, before we move forward on that, on 7A, in the light of a public comment today, perhaps with this council, we should have 52626 reviewed for accuracy, just to make sure that that there isn't anything that's missing. And if staff and the clerk and the mayor or the manager can assure that it is ensured that it is accurate, then I'm fine with that.
Want to move that to next month?
Well, that's for 52626, that's why I'm asking. We can either remove that, I'm seeing a head nod from the manager, yes. So
Yes,
I'd like to remove that from 7A, but I would make a motion for the rest as a single consent agenda vote. That's my motion.
You move to approve A through E without 52626 minutes.
Yes, sir.
That's correct.
Anybody else?
I second it.
So you just made a motion?
No, he did, and then.
All right, you're making a motion to accept it with just that one. Okay.
And then
And
Mr. Doggett.
Mr. Doggett seconded it. All those, is there any discussion?
Just really quick, Mr. Manager, would you just say just a couple of words about what those few are that we're approving so people know what they are for the rate maps and the safe streets and the budget amendments?
Yes, sir. Be glad to. So the rate maps are the maps that the federal government has proposed to adjust flood zones within the corporate limits of Summerfield. In most cases, they're actually to the benefit of our residents. For instance, out of Bandera, the flood zone encroached way into the park in some areas. It's been pulled back more narrow around the creek. It's really a formality. We don't have a review authority to change them, so it is the federal, but in order for our citizens who are in flood zones to have flood insurance, we have to approve these flood maps. So that's the first thing. The letter of support for safe streets and roads grants, this is from our Metropolitan Planning Organization in Greensboro, which we're a member of, and they work with DOT and local municipalities and county governments about applying for federal and state DOT grants. This is a letter of support. They're applying for a grant for safety stuff such as signage, crosswalks, those types of things. So again, more of a formality than anything else. As far as the specific budget amendments, we have the finance officer here who can answer anything you may have any questions about the budget amendment. I think y'all have talked about the legal fees earlier for that. There was a question by a couple of council about why are we taking money from this line under this? It's customary at the end of the year that when you have money left over, if you need to do a budget amendment, we try to take it within the budget if we don't think we're going to use it for the rest of the year. And that way, the money budget amendment you are doing or considering to take for legal fees, we won't have to take as much for fund balance.
Basically, just moving money from an unused place to a place where we use.
Correct. A budget is a forecast, you know, say we forecast we're gonna use $20,000 in gas this year and gas comes totaling down this year, then we're not gonna use as much, that leaves some leftover money. So that allows us to move money around within the budget for that. And the question begs, well, what happens if the year comes, we haven't used it, it rolls into fund balance and starts over. So those, you know, the budget is a forecast, so doing amendments is not necessarily a bad thing unless you're doing a bunch of them all the time. So.
Thank you.
All right, any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the consent agenda, with the exception of the open session meetings at 5:26, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It passes. All right, old business, we have removed 8A. We're now to 9A, new business, discussion with Piedmont Land Conservancy on trails. Ms. Kelly, you leaving? Can you come here a second, please? You know, I gave them some praise a minute ago, and with this budget, you've not gone unnoticed. I've noticed it, and I think the rest of the board have noticed it, as well as the rest of the town staff here. Y'all work very hard on this. But I've watched you, and you, at the same time, you were implementing a different platform while you're doing that as well. And I can only imagine what that was like. And I personally want to thank you, and I'm sure the rest of the board does too, for your work on the budget.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, we have Palmer McIntyre. It's good to see you again.
Thanks for having me come. I was invited to come and have a discussion about trails. So Palmer McIntyre with Piedmont Land Conservancy, and I thought it might be helpful to provide a little context since some of you are newer council members since we started working with y'all. So I'll just introduce a little bit of background about PLC and then talk about some trail efforts. So Piedmont Land Conservancy is a nonprofit regional land trust, and our mission is about protecting natural and scenic lands, family farms, open spaces, natural areas, and connecting people to nature. And we work in a 9-county region here in North Carolina. Get it next slide. Thanks. And so we deal with land. We're a land trust. And when we deal with land in a number of different ways, through acquisitions of land and through conservation easements with working with private landowners. And conservation easements are legal documents that are filed with the deed that prevent intensive future development of property. So they're negotiated with private landowners, they're voluntary, that kind of thing. So we protect a lot of land just with private landowners, but we also protect a lot of land through acquisitions, which is what we did with Big Dare Farms Park. So sometimes land is donated to us, sometimes we buy it, so there's a lot of different ways, but we're always working with land, and we do a lot of conservation planning. So that's kind of the gist of what we do. You can go next slide. So here's our region, but with trails, we do a lot of work through our Piedmont Legacy Trails program. So part of our mission, I said, was connecting people to nature. We do that through trails are an excellent way to connect people to nature. And so we launched the Piedmont Legacy Trails program about 12 years ago, 10 years ago, and it's a partnership with PTRC, which y'all are a member, and their service area for the Piedmont Legacy Trails program is actually 12 counties, which matches their footprint. But so 3 of those counties are not PLC counties, if that makes sense. Okay, next slide. And this work with trails falls into 3 different buckets. So we're about advancing trail networks across the region by advocating for networks, but also improving connectivity and providing educational opportunities. We hold an annual trail summit. We do a lot of work building partnerships. A lot of our work is cross-jurisdictional, so we try to build partnerships with nonprofit and different local government partners. And then collaborating with funding sources and sharing information and understanding and knowledge. And then just growing public support and understanding awareness about trails. So we do that through social media, we develop trail guides and that kind of thing. And so why trails in the first place? Well, part of this, for us, it kind of helps us connect people to nature, which is an element of our mission, but also for everyone, trails build healthy communities and help enhance quality of life anywhere. People want to be outside. It's a safe place to recreate. It's often very beautiful. This is a picture from your community park here. And also there's the important health outcomes, physical health as well as mental health. So we believe that they're a very important part of community infrastructure. And why it matters is just that, again, these are just some images, people enjoying outdoor spaces. Time and time again, through surveys, public surveys, people show a strong interest in having places to recreate on trails. So how trails are built. It's a complicated process. It's less complicated when you're building trails on a single tract of land, like maybe here at the community park. But a lot of trails cross over multiple boundaries. And so you always start with a concept of what you have a vision for something to be. Then you take a look at how can we really do this. That's called a feasibility phase. And then, of course, there's the right-of-way acquisition, design and engineering, and construction. And this flow of a project process is really for paved trails, but natural surface trails, which are simpler for construction, design, and engineering, still follow the same path, but some of the steps are much simpler and less expensive. Okay, next slide. So planning, going back to that concept phase of any trail project, is something that Piedmont Land Conservancy has put some effort into, particularly in this area, and related to the Piedmont Greenway. So we talked a lot about the Piedmont Greenway because a piece of that's going to be on Bandera. And we launched the original master plan concept for that back in 2003 through a capital campaign. We paid for that study, and that the Piedmont Greenway, just to remind you, and I'll show a map in a second, is that connector between Greensboro and Winston through Triad Park. We went back in 2018 and did a deeper dive into the Guilford County portion of the Piedmont Greenway. So we did a feasibility study. Remember, that's that kind of second step on that flow. And that study came out with a recommended alignment. And that study also came out recommending that Bandera, that property was available and it might be something to consider for acquisition. And that led to Bandera Farms Park. And then also just pointing to the town's Parks, Trails, and Open Space Master Plan that was completed in 2021 showed a very strong community interest in trails networks. And that study was really important because it enabled the town to access $1 million in funding through Part F and LWCF for Bandera Farms Park. So all this planning work is super important to do. So the Piedmont Greenway, as it was envisioned initially, some new parks have been added in, including Bandera. So now it's 4 parks, 3 towns, 2 cities, and 2 counties. And again, it's a 19-mile trail. You can go to the next slide. We'll have a vision of it. Oh, let me back up for a second. So no, you can go to the next slide. Sorry. But when you think about these bigger trail projects like the Piedmont Greenway, you want to think about connectivity. It's super important to be thinking at a very high level before you drill down too much. And so with the Piedmont Greenway, the super exciting thing about it is that it provides a tremendous opportunity for connectivity. So connectivity into Greensboro's watershed trails, that's 42 miles of trails all around Greensboro's watershed lakes. The Mountains to Sea Trail, this will be designated Mountains to Sea Trail when it gets finished. Bicentennial Greenway connects Greensboro to High Point. This trail will connect into that. And of course the AMY Greenway, which you're very familiar with, and the Kerner Mill Greenway that's in Kernersville. It's a lovely little trail. And then the Salem Lake Greenway and the Salem Creek Greenway on the Winston-Salem side. So here's a map of the Piedmont Greenway as it's envisioned. It's a very high-level map, and it's based on the feasibility studies. So you can see where it connects through Triad Park, which is that shared park on the boundary of Guilford and Forsyth counties, and then you see Bandera Park there. All the green is public land. So on the Guilford side, that's all of City of Greensboro's watershed properties. Next slide. And then, of course, this is the opportunity we had with Bandera Farms Park. So I'm not going to go into an update on Bandera Farms Park, so I think you'll get that from Twig shortly on the agenda. But that played into this opportunity on the Piedmont Greenway. So our role in Bandera Farms Park was land acquisition, because again, we're a land trust, that's what we do. We acquired the land initially, then conveyed it to the town. We also funded the initial master plan of the park, working with Destination by Design, and part of that process too was the equestrian, I think we just lost the visual, the equestrian trail planning, and then we worked with some young Conservation Corps members to rough cut that trail, because we knew it would be a while before we had the funding to build it. We wanted to preserve that corridor. And then all the fundraising that led to the grants that you all did. And let me connect it one. Here we go. And we're managing the construction of the equestrian trails right now, while the town is managing the other infrastructure of the park, and then, of course, we participate on the project management team. So it is a project we've been very, very deeply involved with, and we're also going to work, you mentioned signage, and so we're going to be working with the town on helping to create some signage for that, because it's super, super important. Yeah. Okay, next slide. So here's the big picture again, just with some segment updates. Some exciting progress is happening on the Piedmont Greenway. We initially proposed this, I said, back in 2003, so it's been 23 years. These things take a really, really long time. But working from west to east, section 1 is from Salem Lake to East Forsyth High School on Hastings Hill Road. And that section is ready for construction, and it should go under construction in 2027. So that'll be the first paved section of the Piedmont Green that will be done. Section 2 is a pretty long section, but we do have funding for a feasibility study to determine where that trail will go. So that's the first step. Does it go up here, down here? So there's a lot of work that goes into a feasibility study, but it prepares the project for the next step. And then the number 3 is the Kerner Mill Greenway. It's 1.2 miles. It's already there. It's lovely, beautiful. They're going to be developing a new park called the Pope Memorial Park right next to it. And then section 4 is a gap. We don't really know how to figure that. We haven't figured that one out yet. So it is a gap section. Number 5 is a section that got funding through one of the same funding sources that was for Bandera, the Great Trail State Program, to do design and engineering. So it puts it one step further on that process where it can get closer to construction. And that's a 2.25 mile section from downtown Kernersville into Triad Park. And then you get to Guilford County, and there's a lot of questions. So section 6 is the Guilford County section all the way to Bandera, which is the 1 mile section of the Piedmont Greenway that will be done this year. But in Guilford County, we're looking at a lot of different things. It's not going to be easy, but we're still looking at some other. This might not be the option that you see on the map. It might be something else. Okay, next slide.
Ma'am,
Yes.
is that going to go down Northwest School Road?
Not necessarily, no.
Well, it looks like it's paralleling.
Yeah, if you can go back.
Yeah, if you don't mind, while you're there.
What the feasibility study recommended that it pretty much follow Reedy Fork Creek. So that's Bandera's on Reedy Fork Creek. So if you can envision where that goes.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I don't see any other road besides 150 to give me a guideline where that's.
It's meant to be a very big, it's very high level. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and you can skip to the next one. I've already covered this. So just, going back to this continuum, again, this is how we approach trails. And so our goal here is to try and figure out how to get the Piedmont Greenway connected in Guilford County. And so we are, like I said, we're exploring some other options. And this might be my last slide. I can't remember. Do I have one more? Yeah, these are all the partners with the Piedmont Greenway. So it is very complicated, multi-jurisdictional, but we are working with the NPO, working with the county and the city to look at different options of how to get from Bandera to Triad Park. So that's very large, very complicated, lots of jurisdictions, but that is what we're up to at this point in time. So, and also connecting Bandera back to the ANY. And there's a lot of things there that are up in the air too, because we don't know about all the future land use that's going to be in that area. So that, again, we're going to stay tuned and stay involved to do what we can, working with willing landowners. So I'm happy to answer any questions. I'm hoping that's what you were hoping to hear. I'm not sure what you're hoping to hear, but.
Sorry, I had a question. We talked just very briefly before the council meeting started, and you were saying that you've actually seen some of the trails, and I've not been out there, and it's in a construction zone, so I'm sort of staying away, but with your eyes, how is it looking so far?
Well, I've seen the equestrian trails, and I've seen parts of the Piedmont Greenway where they're installing some pipes to prepare it for a future paving surface. The equestrian trails are going to be beautiful. They meander through the woods. I mean, Bandera Farms is not a pristine piece of land, right? But it's the way they designed the trail, the way they're building the trail, it's just going to be lovely. It gets you up onto the high spots, up at the top, and then through the woods, and go across the creek at one point. So it's coming along. He's built maybe almost a mile of it. So it takes about a month per mile. It takes a bit of work. It's coming along. Yeah.
Have the kids quit riding their dirt bikes?
Yeah, there's been one dirt bike there, but yeah, hopefully we're trying to dissuade
quit doing
that.
it? Yeah.
Any other questions?
Ms. McIntyre, I used to get emails directly from you with the Great Trails State Coalition.
Oh, yes.
Now I think they come from a generic email, but I do get those professionally, and I just want to say, like, the vision that y'all have, like, the scope of what you're doing is huge. So, but I think it's wonderful. Really look forward, hoping you guys can realize, all your goals there, because I know that y'all work tirelessly for this.
Well, thank you for that. And yeah, I do direct this Great Trail State Coalition, which is a statewide coalition. And as you know, the state General Assembly is working on their budget right now, and we're very hopeful that there will be some more funding in that program.
Call your congressman.
I have a question, from a broader perspective. You talked about the partnership with your different organizations and particularly Summerfield and how you're looking to expand your trail footprint. Do you expect to come to the town to acquire easements or partner with the town on that? Because I think that would be, it would be appropriate to ask the board for direction on that partnership.
That is a great question. Thank you for bringing it up. So Piedmont Land Conservancy is a facilitator. We are not a trail manager, except for we own an nature reserve, we own the property, we own and manage those trails. So with the Piedmont Greenway, we are a facilitator for the process. At the end of the day, that trail crosses jurisdictions, and whatever jurisdiction is where the trail is, what is the jurisdiction that will be responsible for that trail, including the acquisition of easements and the management of the trail, construction management of the trail. So at some point, there will be some easements within the jurisdiction of Summerfield for the Piedmont Greenway right-of-way. And so at that point, it would be time for the town to get involved, because you would ultimately hold those easements.
How far down the road is this?
Well, one thing about this corridor is making sure you at least have the corridor, even if you don't build the trail for a very long time. And there are a few private landowners between Bandera and going back to the city of Greensboro land on the east, going east towards 220. That makes sense. When we go back to the map, but so going east from Bandera, under the bridge, and that's DOT's a landowner. So there needs to be an encroachment agreement with DOT to go under the I-73 bridge at Reedy Fork. And then there's a couple of private landowners, one of which Revolution Academy is one, with their upper school where you went to the groundbreaking. And they seem very excited about having access to a trail that would allow their cross-country team to go practice at Bandera and run those trails. So they seem to be interested in at least talking, having a conversation, but we're not sure yet. We don't have any formal agreement at all, or if anything formalized with them yet.
After your term is up, Lee. After your term, yeah.
So that's like in a couple of months. Well,
I just want to tell you, thank you for what you're doing, trying to preserve farms and open space.
Thank you so much.
And thanks for coming out this evening.
Yeah, we're excited for being there, so I'm sure Troy will share more, but it's definitely coming along great.
Yes.
Thank you.
thank you. What do we got? Approval of committee applicants. Mayor Pro Tem Devane.
Okay, everybody has in their packet 6 board and committee that we have here currently in Summerfield. And on those are listed the people who are up for a reappointment. So what I would like to do this evening is to go board by committee, however it falls, and let everyone know what term it would be for that particular person, and making my motion, and then you guys to vote on each one.
You want to do it committee by committee?
Correct.
Okay.
So, and also, as I go through these, I will let everyone know. I had to go back and look up this information online. I'll let everybody know what the terms are. So the first one would be the Board of Adjustment, and George Lothian, he would be approved I think this should be for his first full term, and I say that because he actually filled a vacancy just this past February, so he hasn't been on the committee that long. The commitment for the Board of Adjustment is 3 years, and there's no max terms at this particular time. So with that said, I would like to make a motion that Mr. George Lothian be approved for his first full term, and it would end in July of 2029.
Mr. Mayor, I second that.
Any discussion?
One question real fast. I'm for it, just one question.
No, you're good.
What was the 2029, so it's a 3-year term? And for Finance, Founder's Day, History, and Trails Planning, are those different terms?
They're different. I'll tell you each one as we go through
So
the
they're
list.
not all 3 years?
No, sir. So, right, we
Mr.
have.
Stalls, did you have anything? I do not. Anybody
Mr.
else?
Goldie?
Okay, there's a motion. Is there a second?
I did.
You did, Mr. Clay? All right, discussion. All right. All those in favor of approving George Lothian to the Board of Adjustment signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that's by acclamation. Finance Committee.
Okay, so on the Finance Committee, we have a 2-year term with 3 consecutive terms. That's how that
Say
works.
that again. Yeah, it's a 5-year?
Each term is 2
2
years
years.
with a maximum of 3 terms. And that, therefore, it would be a total of 6 years. Okay, so we have 3 people that would like to remain on this. One is Rodney Carpenter, and his term, this would be his 3rd term, ending in July of 2028. Robbie Gaines, this would be his 2nd term starting, and his 2nd term would end in 7/2028. Terrence Johnson, it would be his 2nd term, and it would end 7/2028. Ms. Clerk, if I'm going too fast, I will give you my notes.
That's good, I got that.
Okay. So I would like to make a motion that we approve Mr. Carpenter, Mr. Gaines, and Mr. Johnson for the Finance Committee with their terms ending July of 2028.
Ms. Devaney,
Yes.
just a general question. All right, say something comes along, can somebody ask for a variance on these? I think we've been through that before and want to go on beyond 3 terms. Is that something we can vote on or be brought before the board?
That is something that the board would have to discuss. And it would also be a possible, I guess if the board wanted to make an exception, they could, but there might be a potential policy or ordinance change. So I would like to leave that alone during this discussion.
Okay, well, I get what you're saying. Okay, I just wondered if there was an off-ramp. Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to second that motion.
Seconded by Mr. Clay. Any discussion?
Mayor Pro Tem, could you clarify the 3-term limit? Is that a limit on 3 terms consecutive or 3 terms a lifetime?
Consecutive.
Any others? All those in favor of the approval of Rodney Carpenter, Robbie Gaines, and Terrence Johnson to the Finance Committee signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Done by acclamation. All right.
Okay.
Founder's Day.
The next one would be Founder's Day. It is also a 2-year term with a maximum of 3 years. And the 2 people up for reappointment would be Mitzi Dawson and Maria Adams. Mitzi's term, I wrote down 7/27. She would end up rolling off 7/27, and that would give her 3 terms plus a year. I'm on the committee as an ex officio, and I recommend that she stays on there And then the other one, Maria Adams, it would be her second term, and she would roll off in July 2028.
Before you make a motion for that, ask it real fast. Did you say there was a term limit on that?
Yes, sir. It's 2 years, 3 terms. This is her,
And Ms. Dawson has been, how many?
it would be 3 years. I said 3 plus 1 year.
This will be her third. This will be her third.
She hasn't exceeded her term.
That's
And
right.
She's finishing her third.
She's finishing her third term, so it would be 3, and I was going to recommend her for another year. Because we don't have another application at this time for Founder's Day, but we are doing business, and we'll be doing business starting in the fall. And I believe that she would be good to stay on this committee for another year to help give guidance. Because she's been on here for so long.
So that's where I was going with my question earlier, if there was room for revision. Okay.
If we were to follow, and I'm just asking because, the rule, if we were to follow our rules and she would have to be there, would we still have enough folks to be on the committee?
Most of the time there's a quorum there. I'm not a voting member, so I don't count.
And it is in the policy that if you don't have a new person, somebody who's reached the max can be appointed for a single year.
Right. That is in the policy.
So that's already in the policy.
Gotcha, okay.
So we would do this process again for her position next year. Yes, sir.
Additional, all right. Has anybody made a motion yet? No? Any other questions? Ms. DeVay? Okay.
Yes, sir.
I'll make a motion that we appoint Mitzi Dawson for an additional year, her term ending in 7/2027. That would give her 3 consecutive terms plus 1 year. And then reappointing Maria Adams for her second term, it ending in July 2028.
Is there a second?
Mr. Mayor, I second that motion.
Mr. Page seconds. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of these 2 applicants being Mitzi Dawson being appointed for 1 year and Maria Adams for her second term, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous. Okay, History Committee?
Going to the History Committee, we have Michelle Miller, Laura Mortensen, and Sonia Turner. For Michelle Miller, let me back up. For the History Committee, this is a 2-year term with a maximum of 3 years. With Michelle Miller, this would be her 3rd term, and it would end 7/2028. Laura Mortensen, this would be her 2nd term, ending in July 2028. And Sonia Turner, it would be her 2nd term, ending in July of 2028. So I make a recommendation that these 3 ladies stay on the History Committee with their terms ending in July 2028.
If you're making the recommendation, then I'll make the motion that they do that.
Thank you.
Is there a second?
Second.
That was Mr. Doggett? Okay. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of Michelle Miller, Laura Martinson, and Sonia Turner being appointed to the History Committee, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Before you move on from History Committee, do you know how many folks we have on there now? I know we had one lady that was going to drop off.
Right now, at the present time, it is.
One of the ladies, I
We
think.
had 3 drop off.
Okay.
Oh, we did, I'm sorry, right before this.
3 who were up for renewal didn't, one's going to law school, one's having a baby.
Having a baby.
And one's traveling all the time.
I think we should,
I'm sorry.
I think we should, for those who dropped off, let's try to recognize them. Maybe the next meeting or wherever we can.
That's Lauren Stradley and Mia and
Nikolai.
I didn't know.
Is he going to law school?
He's going to law school.
I've seen him at the courthouse walking around, yeah.
Do these replace them, so
No,
we're
no,
down
no,
three?
No, we're just down.
We're down three.
But there were no, there were no other.
Okay.
applications.
but it's a total of 9 on that board, is that correct, Madam Clerk?
You can have up to 9, and so now you'll have 6.
That's still a great thing. I mean, at one point, we were trying to fill the committees, and then we got 6
And I
people
know
on there.
they're,
And
they
then-
have some other people in mind, but I think they weren't able to get them.
Yeah.
Okay.
All these committees and stuff, like that's just, well, I'll say something, but it's good. Go ahead.
Okay,
Planning board.
moving on to the planning board. The planning board term is 3 years, and there's no max on the term. So the person who is up on this one is Dwayne Wright, and this would be his second term ending in July of 2029.
Why is there no max?
That's the way the current policy is written.
And if
I
you
will
look-
get to that later. So I would like to make a motion that we keep Dwayne Wright on the board, his new term, second term ending July 2029.
Is that a motion?
Yes, sir.
Is that a second? Is there a
Second.
second? All right, Mr. Doggett?
Yeah.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of appointing Dwayne Wright for his second term, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. He is now appointed. Trails and Open Space.
Okay, the Trails and Open Space Committee. I did not write the years down. I think it is a 2-year term, and there is no max on the number of terms for that one as well. Yes, that's correct. It's
Is that
the
right?
date. I wrote it down. So going forward, the 2 people on there are Carrie Gentry and Neela Jones. Since there is no max and we do not have any additional applicants at this particular time, I know both Carrie and Neela have worked tirelessly on this committee, and I actually asked them to be on this committee when they first got started because they're bikers and runners, and when the DOT does expansions on the roads, or even like on Strawberry Road, and we ask for an extra 2 feet on each side to make it more passable for bikers, that magnitude of person is great for that committee, because it's not just trails through the woods or along roads, it's also biking trails, running trails, and that type of thing, or along the roadsides. My recommendation, and this is just a recommendation, I'll let somebody make a motion, but my recommendation is that we allow Carrie Gentry and Neela Jones to serve a 4th term on the Trails and Open Space Committee, both ending in July of 2028.
So both of them, this will be the 4th term for both of them.
Yes, sir.
Is there a second?
I will gladly second that.
Mr. Clay seconds it. Is there any discussion? Hearing none,
Wait,
all
I
the,
said recommendations.
I will make a motion.
Okay,
that
motion
Carrie
made.
Gentry and Neela Jones remain on the Trails and Open Space Committee.
Is there a second?
Second.
That was Mr. Stahl. All those, is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carrie Gentry and Neela Jones are now approved. Is that it for the committee applicants, Ms. DeVega?
That's it for 9B.
Okay, you want to go to
For
9C?
9C,
Committee term limits.
so as I was going through and putting this together and realizing that our boards and our committees are not the same either way, I would like to ask that the town manager and the town attorney create a consistent policy for committees and boards, something that is easy for council to work with and makes sense for terms. and also makes everything more consistent.
And the boards are in the UDO.
Yes, so the boards are, it would be an ordinance that we have to look at, and then the committees, it would be a policy.
All right, this is just a request. You're not making, there's no need for a motion or anything like that.
No, sir, it's a request for the town attorney and the town manager to create a consistent policy / ordinance for all committees and boards. And that is based on what everyone has just witnessed.
So you'll need like a consensus from us to projection, so I'm fine with that.
I can't hear you.
I said she would need consensus from us for direction, so I give consensus from
Is
her.
that good with y'all? I mean, Doggett,
Yep, all of it.
Clay?
I definitely do not want to inhibit the volunteers that put a lot of effort, and they are volunteer positions, into the boards and to the committees that we have. Absolutely don't want to do that. However, I do agree that since I've been on council, the keeping track of all the different committees and the boards, which I know is also in the UDO, is a challenge to do. And I think having something consistent, uniform, standardized would be beneficial to not just to the people who are volunteering, but to the staff, to the board, and future staff and board. I think having term limits in the political world, in my personal opinion, makes sense to me. Again, I just want that to be fair when we get to that point of what that looks like, that we're taking that into consideration. So my consensus is yes, I would love for us to continue to work on this.
That was a yes the hard way, right?
That's the yes, the lengthy way, sir.
Okay, all right. Hamilton?
Yeah, I just think since, we've had a switch up, a changeover in the administration since the last few years, we've actually seen an influx of people coming in. It's been great. I heard a lot of concern that people wouldn't come in and join the clubs and committees, and we've seen that. We've seen, I interviewed quite a few not too long ago, and so I think if we create limits on things, we will see more people interested because there'll be more opportunity. So, and that's not to cut out people who are interested, but that's just to give more folks a chance to be involved in town.
Mr. Stahl?
Mayor Pro Tem, I was trying to make some notes. What was the term length and limit for the Board of Adjustment?
The Board of Adjustment was 3 years, no max terms.
Okay. I consent to having the town attorney and the town manager take a look at coming up with more consistency across these different boards. I'd like to point out, it seems like Founder's Day, 2 terms, 3 consecutive term limit, I guess can be extended for 1 year if we don't have any new applicants. I think that's a good standard to look at. I like that we have a standard in place for finance. I think planning and adjustments, since those can also be legally fraught boards, it would be good to at least have that level of oversight's the correct word, but having term limits on planning and Board of Adjustment in particular.
I also agree with you.
Okay.
And if you don't mind.
No.
If you, in like the concern with the Founder's Day earlier about having, making sure you keep people on there. If we do create something that is a limit on there, people can still be invited to come and speak with you for the meetings, right? Because I think we should try to encourage.
Yes, sir. If you look at our minutes and our agendas, there's a little section that always says guests, and we list those. Also, if someone's been on the committee for a while, they could roll into an ex officio position where they would be able to sit and comment and participate and help. They just cannot vote.
That's good to know.
I think the Founder's Day would be one that'd be great if we had a little more, open up to some more of the public, so this last one was, I don't think we mentioned that during the announcements, did we, about Founder's Day?
We did last time.
We did last
Yeah,
time.
I did, okay.
Yeah, you
I
weren't.
wanted to make sure that we, because it was a great one.
Yeah, we did.
So that's all I have on that.
Well, I do want to make a comment. As much acrimony and back and forth and fighting that this town has gone through, ever since I've come to these meetings, I've noticed that there's always a lot of people that want to volunteer for these committee assignments. And I think that's a good sign. We don't always fight. It just shows that we don't always fight, you know, even though we do fight, there's a lot of people that still want to volunteer for these committees, and I think that's a good thing. So I want to thank everybody that does. So I just want to say that.
And I think we fight to make the town better. So just
Well,
because we-
we're very, very family. Okay. Where are we at?
So 90, Mr. Rollins, the July council meeting.
July council meeting, Mr. Ron.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. So back in December, council adopted a yearly calendar. We put in a placeholder for meetings in July for a regularly scheduled meeting and a workshop meeting. In talking with the majority of the board, it's consensus that we take July off like y'all have done in years past unless there's an urgent matter, which we would call a special meeting. So in order to do that, I just need authorization to do the proper public notice that we will not be having any meetings in July as far as this body meeting.
Mr. Manager, I would like to make the motion that we do not have our regular July council meeting nor the workshop, which is usually the following Tuesday.
Is there a second?
Second.
That was Mr. Doggett.
That was awful quick second.
There was. Is there any discussion? All those in favor of not having any meetings in July signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I was just.
Y'all have made me very happy.
I was gonna say, yeah, it's a good thing.
9E, approval of resolution for Paul Park field mowing.
I need to ask to be excused.
Oh, yeah, okay. This concerns Mr. Doggett, so he has asked to be recused.
Yes, I would make.
I'll make a motion that we allow Mr. Doggett to be excused from the discussion of 9E, approval of resolution for Paul Park field mowing.
Mr. Mayor, I'll second that motion.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of excusing Mr. Doggett from the approval of resolution for Paul Park, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Well, like I said, motion for it.
Excuse me?
No, just to exclude
Just
Mr.
to
Doggett.
To exclude him, to exclude Mr. Doggett. Okay,
Who's talking first?
all right. So now we go on to the approval of resolution for Paul Park. Does somebody need to read that resolution?
Is there any discussion?
Or do you want to talk about that? Okay.
And that's.
I would really, like for our attorney, Ms. Anderson, to please.
Are you going to read it or just talk about it?
Well, so I'll just sort of generally describe the purpose behind this. So on May 19th, the council voted to memorialize an agreement with Councilman Doggett to mow the town property located adjacent to the Paul Park. There's a copy of that agreement attached as Exhibit A. Under general statutes in North Carolina, they allow municipalities of a certain size, that's less than 20,000 people in population, to essentially contract with members of the governing board. In light of the de minimis value of the hay, which is less than $60,000 as provided by statute, the town has decided to view this as a contract, and in doing so, to make sure we don't run afoul of any of the requirements of the general statutes, we are passing this resolution approving that agreement. I've had some discussions with several of you regarding the addition of some hold harmless language. Essentially, and I've spoken to Mr. Doggett, and I know he's been recused from this, but before you vote on this, he will have to agree to add this extra language to his amendment, so it gets a little hairy here. But I will read the additional language out loud. Essentially, it says, further, Mr. Doggett agrees that he, on his behalf and on behalf of his employees, shall hold the town of Summerfield harmless from and against any and all claims against the town he and or his employees may have by virtue of work performed pursuant to this agreement. So with the addition of that language, to the agreement as attached as Exhibit A, you have before you a resolution that would be retroactive in how you choose to view the agreement you approved on May 19th. So essentially, at that time, it was contemplated that it was a volunteer agreement, and while Mr. Doggett will not receive any sort of monetary compensation, the contract contemplates that he will at least receive the value of the hay.
All right, with the addition of the last verbiage, where's that going to be in the town record? Is that going to be,
So the statute sets forth certain requirements when you, a contract, where is this going to be in the
a
record?
final document, Exhibit A, where's that going to be?
Right, so it'll be posted at Town Hall, where other contracts are. I think that's covered by Provision 4. A list of all officials with whom such contracts have been made. It'll briefly describe the subject matter of the undertakings of the contracts and show their total amounts. And such list will cover the 12 preceding months and will be brought up to date at least quarterly. And that'll be done by Madam Clerk. So we will need Mr. Doggett to approve amending his contract to include this language, and then y'all will need to vote to approve this resolution.
Mr. Doggett, do you agree to amend the agreement to multiple apartments?
Is there any
Yeah, I'm sorry,
discussion
is there
about
any
that?
discussion? You got anything else?
Well, I'll probably do mine.
But you're just seeing this.
If there's a vote, then I'll do a discussion.
Well, there's gonna be a vote.
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying, I'll wait until.
Okay.
I do have a good question. Just procedurally, so I understand, the hold harmless clause would be added to Exhibit A,
Correct.
and we would need a motion.
I think the cleanest way to do it is have an emotion, make a motion to allow Mr. Doggett, to asking Mr. Doggett to amend his agreement to include this additional language, and then approve the resolution authorizing this agreement as amended.
We're making a motion to ask him.
Just,
No.
I mean, he,
Mr. Doggett,
Truly, I'm asking.
So,
I mean, Mr. Doggett just needs to.
Because I talked to him before the meeting too, briefly, and he was okay with it. I mean, do we need to get it?
I'll make a motion that we ask Mr. Doggett if he will accept the addendum to Exhibit A.
I'll second that.
any discussion? Hearing none?
And so this
All those
is,
in favor of asking Mr. Doggett to accept the additional verbiage to an amendment to the agreement to move the ballpark, signify by saying aye.
this is a vote out to your.
All those opposed? Okay.
Is
I
that right?
I oppose it, but I'll get to that.
Did you oppose it?
I think we already have the motion on the books, so it's essentially y'all have approved this agreement. Is Mr. Doggett in agreement with it? If so, then the new contract reads as Exhibit A with this at the hold harmless agreement. at the
Mr.
bottom.
Doggett, you okay with it? Thank you, sir.
And the reason why I voted against it, I vote, of course, I'm just saying what I said last time, was I already voted against the, I'll talk about it more at the resolution, but I voted against it before, so I'm just.
Can you pass that down here?
Yeah, you should have one in your seat, I'm
All right,
sorry.
no, that's okay, I want to see this. All right. Now we move on to
Do we
The
need to
approval of
vote on
resolution.
that? He accepted, now we.
I think it's fine.
We're
Yeah.
fine?
we don't have to do anything else.
No, you need to adopt the resolution.
That's
So
okay.
can we discuss?
Yeah.
Okay, hang on. Now okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, I wasn't here for the last vote that the town approved of the agreement, and now this is a resolution to approve the contract. And I had several questions this week about this, and I talked to some council, and I definitely talked to our town manager and the town attorney. The town attorney assured me that she has reviewed the agreement and it is satisfactory. Also had questions around the terms. I want to make sure that was okay, and my questions were asked there. Also, my questions around the risk mitigation and liability of the town, so I appreciate Mr. Doggett allowing us to pursue the hold harmless clause. Again, when I took this oath of office, a couple of things that I immediately wanted to understand and make sure, and that was be fair to the citizens And is there any risks that we need to take care of, whatever it may be? Would it be de-annexation when I first got here, a bunch of, among other things. So every contract that comes through, I'm always looking, is it fair to citizens and is there risk of litigation? So I appreciate that we got the hold harmless clause. I will say that I think Mr. Doggett has already started cutting, and started working this land, and I would like that the next time this comes available, we at very minimum fair to the citizens that they are aware that this land is available to them. Whether anybody else wants to do it or not, because I really don't have a personal problem with Mr. Doggett doing it. In fact, I appreciate him doing it because it does save the town money. But I do think that we need to, whatever fashion that we do, that the town manager feels that we need to do, at least, I don't know if you'll call it, put out the bid or just put it on Facebook, but at least let our community know, hey, there's some land on the town that maybe someone else may want it, maybe not, to be able to know this. So that's where I would.
Mr. Clay, that would, I believe, there needs to be an additional verbiage at the end of this additional verbiage stating that. Am I not mistaken?
No,
Am I not mistaken?
I'm not making a motion, I'm just saying, I wasn't here for the last town meeting, and I've had a lot of conversations about this topic, and so, I'm just saying for the next go-around, if this passes, I think we should just make sure that, again, Mr. Doggett is still interested in other people, and we just make sure that that's public enough, that's all.
Yeah, and I'll follow up real quick and say, follow up real quick and say, yeah, no slight against Mr. Doggett, because, you know, he's recused himself, it's on us, he's asked this of us, and my issue is purely with, I feel like we're giving special access to what I feel like amounts to a lease on land for hay production, and I think if we're going to do that, we have to open it up to all citizens, and then Mr. Doggett, of course, would be welcome to request it the same way everybody else would, so I just feel as though this is special access being given to a council member for, because I don't know if anybody else even know that they could ask this, and to use the land to, you know, I think what is the contract, to put fertilizer and things down to use it. So the idea is to cut it twice a year because you're growing up for hay, so people will rent, lease land. Anyway, the short of it is, I'm going to vote against it, but I agree with Mr. Clay. Next time around, I encourage everybody to open it up, and then Mr. Doggett is welcome to do the same.
All right, my point is, thank you, Mr. Hamilton and Mr. Clay. This annual agreement will be may be canceled by either party in December of any year. Otherwise, it will automatically renew on January 1 of each year. So unless one of y'all brings it up,
That's right. That's how we do it.
unless one of y'all brings it up, it's just going to keep going. So, you know, it's up to y'all. So unless there's additional verbiage to open it up to bid, you know, this is it. I mean.
And so when would you open it up to bid? I mean, what time?
That's y'all. I'm good with it. I mean.
Mr. Doggett, let me ask you that question for the next go around, because again, this is, you know, just so we know for you too, if we were to open this up next time to everybody, when would be a good time to let you know, so that way.
If you're gonna like open it up, I'm over to withdraw it, because the amount of time and the amount of money that we're gonna put in trying to get the field back to where we can use it, I'm not gonna spend that time. And actually, since we mowed it, we picked up the 20 acres right beside it, so we picked up Jim Beeson's land, so.
I can say from family experience that mowing this hay, you have a loss because we've had no rain, so you're not going to get your normal yield of hay. There has not been any fertilizer put on this, therefore, and you can't right now because it'll burn it up. And people who have farms like Mr. Doggett are looking for hay. My family's looking for hay. We're in Alamance County.
Well, see,
and it's not there. And you're going to be buying it from upstate New York. So for him to be able to save the town money, use the land, feed the cows, keep the Centennial Farm going in Summerfield, I mean, it's a win-win for everyone. and he does it at an expense. He's not making any money on it.
Well, the way you said that, it almost, I mean, it's almost like you're giving mitigations to excuse the special access. I mean, you virtually just now said that it's a hard thing to come by. People are needing it, and so that's what makes.
But we don't have farms
If
or
I may
cattle on that in the town of Summerfield. And I can tell you,
If I
my
could just-
family is not gonna travel an hour or 45 minutes to get something off of a small piece of land like this. They're not gonna do it because you cannot make money on it.
I understand, and again, it seems like if it's something that's hard to get or hard to come by, that you would open it up first to the public and let the public tell you that there's nobody else interested in it. Because it is virtually, by the nature that we're doing it, or the town's doing it rather, special access is being given to somebody that nobody else knows about the ability to have it. I mean, I think when we even first put it on the agenda, it wasn't even put.
Okay, and there's something else. He actually donated the hay. Also, Mr. Doggett wanted to be forthright. He's actually been taking care of this particular field in his family for how many years?
I'm sorry.
Prior to this, how many years have you mowed that pasture?
It was a couple of years.
Okay, so a couple of years, he's been maintaining that for the town. But with the new council and the new staff, he wanted to be transparent and came out and said, just want to let you know, I'm doing this.
No, I mean, I understand everything you're saying, and the more you're talking, the more, to me, it's mitigation to excuse special access, but I'm ready to vote.
Can I ask a question?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
I want to make sure I heard you right.
I want to make sure I heard you right. If this went out for, I don't know if we call it bid, or if we just announce it, just make it known, hey, there's this land out there, is anyone interested? You would still be interested, or you'd be like, no, I don't want to do it?
I want to do it. Because we're going to spend, this fall, we're going to spend money on killing weeds to get it back under control. We'll do soil samples, probably going to put some lime on it this fall. There's cost to me that out of good faith, I would like to be able to keep it without having to worry about it going out to bid every year. If it's going to go out to bid, then I'm not going to spend the money.
Is this something that is to go out for bid, or is this an announcement? Please educate us on this.
Can I ask a question for that? Mr. Dog, how much do you estimate the amount of aid that you get each year? How much would that run on an open market? Do you have any idea? Just
I don't,
Just
it
ballpark.
costs me. I mean, it's not,
Yeah,
I'm not selling it.
I understand that. I do. Yeah,
So if you don't take the cost of, hey, I have a tractor in the shop right now that I broke bringing over here, it's a couple $1,000s.
I
that
get
got.
all that.
Well, what you
Yeah.
asked the cost?
Yeah.
Couple $1,000s, we got fertilizer costs, it's a couple $1,000, spraying is a couple $1,000, so the hay, I'm not gonna make anything.
I get that. Yeah. If I was to go by the amount of hay that you're cultivating, how much would I pay?
I don't sell hay, so I don't know.
Oh, you don't know. Okay. That's what I was asking.
I don't sell hay.
Okay.
And see, I don't want to be divisive with Mr. Doggett, so I don't like that part at all, but like with him saying, he's spending a lot of money to basically work the land, that's what, to me, sends up a legal signal that this is, we're given a lease on land, and if this has been used for a while, and if it's something that we're open to other people, and it's something he's going to withdraw from, my question is, what is the purpose of the land? Are we keeping this land solely to have it work for hay? For Doggiesville Farm?
All right, Mr. Stalls, do you have any discussion?
Wait,
I don't know.
Wait a second.
Understand.
What's the use of them?
Mr. Mayor, did I get my question answered?
Okay, all right. Go ahead.
So, my initial question, very simple. Could you educate this board on, is this something that would qualify as bid, or is this just an announcement, or neither?
It is something that you could consider for a bid in the future, but remind the board, maybe the obvious is we're getting the benefit from it. We're not having to mow it and spend our employees' time and our equipment in time. So it's just sitting there as an open field that we have to mow, which, you know, we do several times a year. Mr. Doggett basically for an agreement is mowing it for us, and we're not paying him anything. His benefit is if he can grow some hay on it, he takes the hay off of it. If you want to look into bid, you know, into a bid, then maybe you need to entertain a multi-year, so it's worth him to put an investment in the land at like 2-3 years, and then it come up and then do another bid. That answer your question? And yours too?
Well, what's the use of the land? What's the purpose of it?
Nothing, it's just open space right now. It's just open space that we have that abuts up to the wooded area around. Other than we've got a walking trail that hugs right next, and when I say a walking trail, it's maybe 8 foot wide, right up against the trees that bends around to the wildlife. But the benefit to us is we're not putting our equipment, our time, our people out there to mow it. He's doing it, and in exchange, he's cutting hay off of it.
And Mr. Doggett, if someone were to come up and cut it in between your cuts, you wouldn't like that, right?
Nope.
But
So
you
wouldn't-
won't be able to do that, because that's not the way you grow hay.
Well, hold on, so if you don't mind, if I could just talk for a second, I don't know if I'm, but, right, so, but Mr. Vanny, you're saying that, actually, every time you interject, you lead me to the conclusion stronger that we are essentially giving a lease on land for hay production. And if we do a lease on land for hay production, one of the problems is that you actually have to do a resolution under the law to say that the land is not going to have any, it's just, this is my general recollection of it, you know, the land doesn't have any use for the town, and we have to vote on a resolution for that, and we have to vote to allow someone to have that lease. So that's where, I mean, those kind of things pop up in my head. So, you know, if we're not, nobody else is allowed to touch it because it is being used solely for hay production, somebody then pretty much has a lease on that land. And if they have a lease on municipal land, it falls under North Carolina state statute, is my understanding of it.
All right, where are we at?
Mr. Mayor, may I make a motion?
Yes, you may.
If that's a lease on land.
I would like to make a motion that we move forward with this resolution.
With agreement with Exhibit A.
Yes, and we allow Mr. Doggett to move forward.
All right, is there a second? Second. Seconded by Mr. Stalls. I'm going to read this. Agreement to mow Paul Parkfield property. Per this agreement between John Doggett and the town of Summerfield, John will mow the acreage beside the town's dog park twice a calendar year and no charge to the town. Should the town decide to cancel this agreement within a calendar year, John will be reimbursed for all costs associated with the field maintenance, for example, spraying, fertilizing, seeding, and pending timely receipt submission, or pending timely receipt submission. This annual agreement may be canceled by either party in December of any year. Otherwise, it will automatically renew on January 1st of each year. Further, Mr. Doggett agrees that he, on his behalf, and on behalf of his employees, shall hold the town of Summerfield harmless from and against any and all claims against the town that he and or his employees may have by virtue of work performed pursuant to this agreement. All right, there is a motion, there's a second. Is there any discussion?
Mrs. Anderson, with the knowledge that a lot of towns are under scrutiny for doing things they shouldn't, and given what you've heard today, do you feel that we might need a closed session on whether or not there is a, you know, given all these things on land, that there might be some discussion or research that you need that this does or does not require a resolution for a lease of land? It is exclusively being used.
So
for
I don't think it is appropriate, I don't think an open session, I don't think now.
I said, would you like to have a closed session before it's voted on?
It's already talked about.
It's already open.
I'm not sure what the question is. What do you want?
Based on the factual information that's been given today, that it is going to look like it is exclusively being used for hay production, which is very much a lease on land. Do you feel as though that we need to have a closed session on this prior to a vote?
No. I would say that in general, the law permits the memorialization of volunteer agreements for, specifically for agricultural purposes, and the resolution and the statute referenced in the resolution provides an exception for municipalities to contract with such. How you, as a council, choose to characterize this may be a different discussion.
But is there a separate statute about leasing land from a municipality?
Yes.
And you don't think that one applies to this at all?
I don't think that is an appropriate question to ask your attorney.
Would you like to have a closed session with us to discuss this?
I don't choose whether or not we have a closed session. If you would like to have a closed session to ask me questions.
As a protector of the
Wait a minute. All right. Any other questions, Mr. Evans? Look, there's a motion on the floor, and it's been seconded.
Mr. Mayor,
You've asked your, is there any other, Mr. Stahl, do you have any questions?
No.
All right, Mr. Clay, do you have any?
I've already made
Mr.
my
Dobbins.
comments.
He's out of discussion.
Oh, you're out of this, that's right. You are the discussion. All right, all those in favor of agreeing to this agreement signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Okay, motion passes. All right,
Thank you.
thank you, Mr. Doggett. Where are we at?
Okay.
Discussion and decision, mandatory committee participation in county.
Okay, so I just wanted to make one thing clear. When I turned in my list of items for the June agenda, what I wrote was vote dash all committees should attend Founder's Day. And what I would like to say on this, I did not use the word mandatory. I would like to see all committees plan and participate in the Founder's Day. I think it's a wonderful opportunity for Summerfield to show off its volunteers, what it does for its citizens through the committees. And I think this should be a priority for all. If they need their own tent or any material items, then they're welcome to please make that request with the town manager. And also, if there were not enough people to have their own tent, then at least have a representative in the town tent and have applications there and try to get new members to come in and join the committees. That's all I have to say.
All right, so you just want to talk about it. I don't like the mandatory part. I would say it's highly suggested that committee participation counters. You said that wasn't mandatory anyway, right? You didn't suggest it.
I didn't, that was not my word. That's what I wrote, what I wrote when I suggested.
Well, I think it's just a good idea.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Add to what Mr. Bain has already said, regarding mandatory, I think it should be from this council to those committees that it is strongly encouraged with a high priority to attend our flagship event that we have every year to represent what they're already volunteering to do at our Founder's Day. And I think that should be an expectation. And if they cannot attend could be a host of different reasons, that I would add to what Mr. Bain is saying is to communicate that to the Founder's Day Committee, communicate that to the staff, which then disseminate to the authority of this, which really falls back onto the board here. So we need to be aware of if somebody cannot make it, maybe we can offer some support and help those committees to make sure that they can attend. Whether they need help with a specific tent, or they share a tent with our tent that our town fits for. So I agree with that, what she is saying, and would like to see participation from everyone.
Could that be put into the committee description on the, I guess, on our website, or I guess under policy or whatever? each committee has a description, correct? An ordinance, correct, that's what I'm looking, the word is ordinance I'm looking for.
We could go so far, Mr. Mayor, as to put that in writing into a policy. We could go so far as an ordinance, but I think we're such a small, tight-knit community, I think that we can share those expectations downstream with what few communities we have and make sure that is crystal clear.
Anybody else? No? Manager updates, A1, Bandera, first town sign, water project.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor and council. So a couple of updates. The AY project, we're still waiting on the appraisals, so we can move forward with the eminent domain. There's still plenty of time for those people before it moves to eminent domain. They can still talk to us and try to work something out. Bandera Farms, bathrooms will be delivered next Tuesday. We're trying to see if the crane's gonna be there or not that day. I'm assuming it is to take them off the trucks, but we're trying to get, we just found out today. If so, we're gonna get some photo ops and definitely take advantage of calling the news media for that. Palmer McIntyre spoke earlier. I am on a committee, a trails committee for Piedmont Land Conservancy, and one of the things that was we're going to have the first signage on the trail. So I'm on a subcommittee trying to identify the right types of signs, and that it's congruent and complements the other sections of the trail when they eventually get built. So we are very cognitive of that and working on that. We do have an emergency services meeting next month with all emergency services in the area, the county, Oak Ridge, Summerfield Fire Department, Sheriff's Department, Emergency Management, so on and so forth, to develop an emergency operations plan for the property. One of the things that we'll have done is GIS markers along each one of the trails, so that if there is an emergency, all somebody will have to do is get on their cell phone and get that number on that diamond along the trail. And the buildings will be addressed also, so we're in the process of that meeting will be done next month in preparation. Right now, we are still on schedule to finish the end of September. With that being said, as we get closer, we'll be looking to plan a nice ribbon cutting in November and show off this new crown jewel for that. We will be preparing next month. Maintenance is gearing up to get into the house next month, doing the aesthetic things. I know we need to change the blinds out, some small things like that. There's nothing major that needs to be done on the house as far as we know right now. I will let the board know we absorbed in this year's budget. We did have the HVAC go out and we have replaced it. That was done last week. And so we've got a new HVAC for that one. But we absorbed that within the budget. We had the money under one of our line items for that, for town repairs. So we did take care of that for the tenant and honor our lease. The personnel policy, they will be starting on that next month. The grant opens up in August, and once it opens up, then we will only have to pay $2,500. So they're going to start on that process, and they say 60 days-ish. So we'll be coming forth probably in your September meeting to get you to approve a new personnel policy is my goal right now for that. The town sign, we are actually, between Justin and I, we have submitted to 6 different sign companies to get quotes to see if we can keep from going to a formal request for proposal over $30,000 bids. And we have had a couple of sign companies that are very interested in bidding on it, so we're keeping our fingers crossed it's going to come under $30,000, and we'll keep you posted. We will definitely know by August, and it is our intent to, if we've got that quote, you've already approved the budget tonight, we'll go ahead and get if it's under $30,000, we'll pull the trigger and get that going. So, and then the water project, we're still waiting on the county. I sent an email yesterday to the county manager, assistant county manager. I did finally get a response today. We're waiting on a change of scope on the money because the project's slightly changing a little bit, and we're waiting for approval on that. And so they told us today it would be discussed next Thursday at the board meeting. So that is the update on the water project. That is all of my highlights. I'll entertain any questions from the
By
board.
water project, you mean the water tower?
Yes, sir. Water tower project, yes, sir.
And the A&Y, how many holdouts are there?
Last I heard, about 6 or 7. So we're doing appraisals on them so that when we go and deposit the money, as you remember from Mr. Herman, when we go to deposit the money at the clerk of court, it has to be tied to an appraisal for that. So we have to get the appraisal.
And the old tenant has left, have been there?
No, sir, he's
still there?
He's still there. He has until June 30th.
June 30th.
And for the town hall, you and I talked about that recently over the phone, and we said that we would try to plan for September. I think we said it would be a good month to have a public forum.
Yes, sir.
And so, since everybody's here, everybody can look forward to, look at the workshop date in September to see if you can let Twig know if we can do that, if you can do that one or not. We'll start putting something out for you in the next couple of weeks. That way we have several months of advance notice. And the discussion was we were going to try to do it last time. Keith, you weren't going to be here, and then July is a vacation month for everybody. We're not going to be here either. And August is a return to school, getting gears. So that September would be good for us to do that.
One other thing just came to mind too, Mr. Mayor and Council, is that the strategic plan, I have the final document. I'll be sending out to y'all for perusal. I have the final artwork that the consultant has completed, and I'll be sending that to y'all. She would like to come back in August to discuss any last minute changes at your August workshop, which is the third Tuesday. She will not need the whole evening. She will only need less than an hour. And if you all don't have any changes, then you can move forward with adopting the strategic plan at your September meeting, or if there's any changes, then we can make those changes and again, adopt that in September. And then what will happen is that artwork is we'll be able to put it out to the public and for you all to be cognizant of, so when you make future decisions on the visions and goals of the board, you can look back at your strategic plan. That's all I have.
Anybody else?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have a question. Mr. Manager, several months ago, you gave us a goal that we would have on a comp plan, which includes a land use plan for June of this year, and it is, according to my calendar, it is June. I know we don't have a meeting in July. How much longer does this board and the town need to wait to get this comp plan in action?
In the process, they're working on Mr. Clay. It's supposed to go before the planning board in August, is my understanding. As soon as the planning board makes their recommendation, then it will come before y'all.
So what do you anticipate with the new date to be?
September.
Okay.
Mr. Doggett? Mr. Stone? Mr. Hamilton? Okay. Thank you.
I'm not done.
Oh, I'm sorry. I missed you. I'm sorry. I missed you. Oh, my gosh.
At the last town council meeting workshop, the conduct that happened here was not appropriate for town council meetings. Decorum is for the council and mayor and not just the citizens. And I wanted to read a couple of points from our policy. Town council members should demand and contribute to the maintenance of order and decorum in proceedings before the council. Town council members should be honest, patient, dignified, and courteous towards those whom they deal in their official capacity, and should require similar conduct of their staff and others subject to their direction and control. And I feel that everybody, be it council, be it the mayor, be it the citizens, we all need to proceed with decorum, appropriate decorum.
That's universal.
can agree to disagree fully. Or agree fully.
Anybody else? Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Hearing that, I'll entertain a motion.
I will make a motion that we go into closed session to consult with an attorney and to preserve the attorney-client privilege and/or discuss real property acquisition and to receive an update on the Whitaker Hall litigation matters.
I'll second that.
Any discussion?
Is there any other,
Methods, litigation, updates for both of those, the property acquisition and the attorney-client privilege.
Yes, sir.
That's good.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of going into closed session signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're now in closed session.
we consulted with an attorney to preserve the attorney-client privilege. We discussed real property acquisition, and we also discussed the Whitaker Hall litigation.
I'll second that, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of going back into open session, signify by saying aye.
Aye. I'll make a motion to
Those
adjourn.
opposed, wait a minute, those opposed, please. Hearing none, we're now in open session. Mr.
Can I make a motion that we adjourn?
I'll second. Devaney second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We adjourn here. Now we're adjourned. Y'all are killing me, man, I'm telling you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Relatively more.
Thank y'all, appreciate it.